dear student. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to see class 10th IT 402 part B ka chapter number 3, that is database management system. So let's start with unit number 3, relational database management system basic. So this is your syllabus for this chapter. There are total 5 sessions. The session number 1 is appreciate the concept of database management system. Session number 2 is create and edit database using SQL command. Then session number 3 is perform operations on table. Session number 4 is retrieve data using query. And session number 5 is create forms and report using wizard. So let's start with session number 1, that is appreciate the concept of database management system. So we will see the meaning of data, then database, then database management system, and then relational database management system. See, the last one, the relational database management system, consists of first data, then database, then database management system, and then relational database management system. You can see this. Okay, so what is data? Actually, if I am just saying the computer, IT, 402, CBSE, student, syllabus. So what I'm saying, I'm just saying some facts or just names or some figures. That is raw facts or figure. So that is data. Okay. And if I process the data and if I'm saying this is your subject, skill subject offered by CBSE, that is IT, and the code is 402. So now you can see that this is the complete information after processing the data, and the processed data we can say that is information. So data is done. Now we will see what is database. If the collection of data, we can say related data, or we can say database the container for data. Okay, so that is database. Then database management system means if you are using any system to manage the data, so that is database management system. We will see all this concept in details in this session. And after that, relational database management system. So relational database management system means if we are using multiple tables for using in any database, so that is relational database management system. So all this four concept we will see in details. So here we have covered the data and information. So we'll see the relation between the data and information. As we discussed, that data refers to the collection of facts and figures, and information means the process or meaningful data is information. So we can say that data after processing will get the information. So I hope you got this concept. The next we will see the database. We have seen the little bit introduction of database. We can say database is a container for data, and the database is an organized collection of interrelated data. We can visualize it as a container of information. If we are managing any registers for manual data, if you are using any folder for storing the data, it we can say that is database, nothing else. Okay, so there are different type of databases that we will see. So the next one is database management system. Now if we are using any database, for example, our school, in our school many students have enrolled. So इन सारे बच्चों का डेटा जब हम कीप करते हैं, उसे मैनेज करते हैं, so for that we need one system, so that we can retrieve any roll number, we can retrieve the or withdraw one specific information of any student, we can add the new entry, we can delete the uh, any entry. So all this manipulation we can do by using the database management system. The system which is used to manage the database is known as database management system. So see, database management system is a software package with computer programs that controls the creation, maintenance and use of database. I want to tell you that database management system से सिर्फ data retrieve ही नहीं होता, but we can manipulate the data, means modification we can do. For example, I told you that we can add the new entry, we can update the entry. For example, अगर किसी एक स्टूडेंट का मोबाइल नंबर चेंज हुआ, पॉसिबिलिटी है मोबाइल नंबर चेंज हो सकते हैं. So if we need to update that mobile number, so we can update our data in database management system through some software with computer programs. Okay, so that is database management system. So database is an integrated collection of data records, files and other objects where we can save the particular data in different data types. Well-known DBMS include Oracle, IBM DB2, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Access, PostgreSQL, MySQL, FoxPro, SQLite. So this SQL is there in 11th and 12th if you are going with the IT or computer in 11th or 12th. And this year in 10th standard we will use this OpenOffice database. So the next one is the data can be managed by using the two types. The first one is flat file and the second one is relational. So we'll see what is flat file and what is relational. So see, flat file data is stored in a single table, usually suitable for less amount of data. फ्लैट फाइल में होता क्या है कि हम पूरा डेटा टेबल के फॉर्म में एक ही सिंगल टेबल में स्टोर करके रखते हैं. If we are using single table, it means that हमारे पास data less amount में ही होगा. So usually it is suitable for less amount of data. And the second one is relational. Why we are why we are going to learn this chapter, relational database management system. That main concept is here, that is relational. Data is stored if we are using any database management system, and in that if we are using the multiple tables and tables are linked using a common field. So relational is suitable for medium to large amount of data. Obviously, if we are dealing with the large amount of data, so we need to sort the data in particular format. We need to keep the data, related data in the multiple tables, and that all tables should be linked with each other. For example, suppose I am having this these two tables. Okay, and in this table, let's say I have created the four different fields, or we can say the column: roll number, your all the information of any student I have saved here, roll number, then mobile number, name, address, age and everything. Okay, and then in this table, let's say I have saved your data related to your fees. In the next table, just consider I have saved your data related to your exam, your marks, your result. Okay, and all this data is linked by one primary key. Different key fields are there that we will see. So the single student is there in all table, and that's why the data is related, because that all complete data which is present in all three tables are of the uh, of single student. So that is linked. So that is relational database management system. That's why relational is suitable. This relational file, or we can say relational database management system, is suitable for large amount of data. If we are dealing large amount of data, then we'll prefer the relational database management system. Now the next concept is database server. So database server are dedicated computers, we can say, that hold the actual database and run only the DBMS and related softwares. Database servers are referred to as बैक एंड। तो बच्चों यहाँ पे और एक कंसेप्ट आती है, बैक एंड एंड फ्रंट एंड। माइट बी यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट द फ्रंट एंड। आपने बहुत सारे प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस के बारे में सुना है। सो बाय यूजिंग द डिफरेंट प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस हम सॉफ्टवेयर बनाते हैं। तो सॉफ्टवेयर में जो स्क्रीन पर आपको इंटरफेस दिखता है, यूजर इंटरफेस, सो दैट इज फ्रंट एंड। एंड बाय यूजिंग दैट फ्रंट एंड हम जो भी कुछ डेटा एंटर करते हैं वो डेटा, उस सॉफ्टवेयर का डेटा जहाँ स्टोर होता है, दैट इज डेटाबेस। ओके, सो डेटाबेस बैकएंड में होता है। डेटाबेस सर्वर में हमारा सारा डेटा सेव रहता है, सो दैट इज बैकएंड। और जो हमें स्क्रीन पे इंटरफेस दिखता है बाय यूजिंग प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस, हम जो कुछ भी वेब पेज या फिर सॉफ्टवेयर डिजाइन करते हैं, तो डिजाइनिंग पार्ट इट इज ऑफ फ्रंट एंड। और जो हम डेटा सेव करते हैं और जो डेटाबेस में सेव होता है इन द फॉर्म ऑफ टेबल्स, डेटाबेस में सारा डेटा टेबल के फॉर्म में सेव होता है। ओके, एंड टेबल इज, we can say it is a intersection of rows and column. So we can say here container of related data. Okay, so database servers are refers to as backend. The next is advantages of database. So these are the advantages of database: reduce data redundancy, then sharing of data, data integrity, data security, privacy, backup and recovery, consistency. So all these advantages of database we will see one by one. So let's start with reduce data redundancy. The database management system contains multiple files that are to be stored in many different locations in a system or even across multiple systems. Because of this, there were sometimes multiple copies of the same file, which lead to data redundancy. So this is prevented in database as there is a single database and any change in it is reflected immediately. Because of this, there is no chance of encountering duplicate data. It means that, just take an example, अगर हम मैन्युअली रिकॉर्ड कीपिंग के साथ ये डेटाबेस को कंपेयर करते हैं, तो मैन्युअली में अगर हम एक स्टूडेंट का रिकॉर्ड रखते हैं तो अटेंडेंस अटेंडेंस का ही रखो। अगर मैन्युअली रजिस्टर में वो कीपिंग हो रहा है तो डिफरेंट लोकेशन पे वो डेटा सेव होता है। तो मेनी टाइम्स वी नीड टू कीप दैट रिकॉर्ड। ओके, और अगर यही हम सेंट्रलाइज डेटाबेस यूज कर रहे हैं, तो अगर हमें कुछ चेंज करना है तो सारे लोकेशन पे ऑटोमेटिक वो चेंज हो जाएगा। इट मीन्स सारे जो चेंजेस होते हैं मल्टीपल यूजर्स के थ्रू, सो एक ही सेंट्रलाइज डेटाबेस में सारे चेंजेस रिफ्लेक्ट होते हैं इमीडिएटली। इट मीन्स जो डुप्लीकेशन ऑफ डेटा होता है वो रिड्यूस होता है, डुप्लीकेशन डेटा नहीं होता। डेटा रिडंडेंसी मीन्स डुप्लीकेशन ऑफ डेटा। एंड बाय यूजिंग द centralized server based database management system, so there will be no chance for data redundancy. Got it? Now the next is sharing of data. In a database, the users of database can share the data among themselves. There are various levels of authorization to access the data, and consequently, the data can only be shared based with the authorized users. Many remote users can also access the database simultaneously and share the data between themselves. Sharing the data is very important feature of database. You know that database can access by multiple users, and there are various level of authorization. ऐसा नहीं कि database multiple users के लिए accessible होता है, so anyone can access all the type of data. No, there are some authorization level for accessing the data. For example, अगर मैंने एक टेबल बनाया और उस टेबल में अगर दो अलग अलग field, the different fields are there. So first column will be of name of employees and the second column will be of the, let's say, salary of employee. Okay, and there are, this table is accessible for multiple users. So I don't want to share the complete details of salary of all employees with everyone, means all the users. So what I'll do, I will restrict the data for person to person, means for user to user. So that's why there are different levels of authorization to access the data. यहाँ तक तो सारा फर्स्ट फील्ड इस टेबल की तो सारे लोगों को मिल जाएंगी, बट all users cannot see the details of salary of all employees, because I have said some levels for authorization to access that particular data only. Many remote users can also access the database simultaneously and share the data between themselves. So that's why sharing the data is a very good feature of database. So the next is data integrity. Data integrity means that the data is accurate and consistent in database. Data integrity is very important as there are multiple databases in a DBMS. So all of this database contain data and that is visible to multiple users. So it is necessary to ensure that the data is correct and consistent in all the database and for all the users. Data should be accurate while filling while submitting the data. That's why we cannot enter the invalid data, because data should be accurate as there are multiple uses for the database, and that is also very good feature for DBMS if we are using centralized server based DBMS. The next is data security. Data security is an important concept in database. Only authorized users should be allowed to access the database and their identity should be authenticated using a username and password. Unauthorized users should not be allowed to access the database under any circumstances as it violates the integrity constraint. अब integrity constraint क्या है? Integrity constraint we have seen that data should be accurate and consistent. Consistent means it should be same for everyone. Okay, so that should not be violate. So that is our data security. So any user which don't have authenticate username or password, they cannot access the database. So what is my authenticated? Authenticated means the person who has permission to access the data, that is authenticated user, and they of course they will have the username and password. Only that user can access the data, and again there are some level, we can say the privacy constraint. So the privacy rule in database states that only the authorized users can access a database according to its privacy constraint. The same concept we have discussed here in sharing of data. There are some levels for authorization. The same, it will be helpful for privacy, keeping the privacy. The privacy rule in a database states that only the authorized user can access the database according to its privacy constraint. To secure data level are set in the database and user can only view the data which is allowed to be seen. For example, in a social networking sites, access constraints are different for different account. A user may want to access admin, कोई भी एक अगर अपने सॉफ्टवेयर लिया कि स्कूल के लिए अगर कोई सॉफ्टवेयर आता है, एलएमएस आता है, तो एडमिन के लिए डिफरेंट एक्सेस होते हैं, टीचर्स के लिए डिफरेंट एक्सेस होते हैं, स्टूडेंट साइड के लिए डिफरेंट एक्सेस होते हैं. अगर सेम सॉफ्टवेयर है एलएमएस का, तो स्टूडेंट कैन सी दैट असाइनमेंट and only can after solving only can submit the assignment, but teachers can upload the assignment and principal can see the complete teacher's account as well as students account. So it is depend on the authorization level, different account for the different user, we can see. That is access constraint for the database. Now the next one is backup and recovery. Database management system automatically take care of backup and recovery. The users don't need to backup data periodically because this is taken care of the DBMS itself. Moreover, it also restores the database after a crash or system failure to its previous condition. अपने आप ऑटोमेटिकली डीबीएमएस अपना खुद का बैकअप भी लेता है इन केस सिस्टम फेल होती है क्रैश होती है फिर अनएक्सपेक्टेड इवेंट होता है तो प्रीवियस कंडीशन में उसकी रिकवरी भी ऑटोमेटिक ही होती है सो दैट इज वेरी गुड फीचर ऑफ डीबीएमएस नाउ द लास्ट feature of DBMS is data consistency. Data consistency means it should be same for everyone. So data consistency is ensured in the database because there is no data redundancy. Obviously, data redundancy means duplication of data. So data consistency means no data redundancy. It should be same for everyone. So data consistency means there should be multiple mismatching copies of the same data. All data appears consistently across the database and must be same for all the users viewing the database. Moreover, any changes made to the database should be immediately reflect to all users and there should be no data redundancy and no data inconsistency. So this is all about the advantages of DBMS. Now we are going to see the features of database. Database can have one or many tables. If we are dealing with the multiple tables, obviously it will be the relational database and that all the data which is present in the multiple tables should be linked. So that is relational database. Then each table in a database contains information about one type of item. For example, if I created a table for fees, so in that table I cannot enter the data for employees salary because that table is made particularly for student fees details. So I will not enter the data for employees salary. So that is one type of item only. Then in every table at least one column must be there which identifies the record uniquely. इसका मतलब ये है कि कंप्लीट टेबल में एक तो वही कॉलम ऐसा चाहिए जिससे हम कंप्लीट टेबल का रिकॉर्ड एक्सेस कर सकते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल अगर एक टेबल मैंने बनाया जिसमें स्टूडेंट की स्टूडेंट के डिटेल्स है तो एक क्लास में स्टूडेंट एक नाम के दो हो सकते तीन हो सकते एक एक ही सरनेम के एक स्टूडेंट दो स्टूडेंट हो सकते तीन भी हो सकते सेम मोबाइल नंबर भी हो सकता है फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई ट्विंस है तो सिर्फ उनका नाम का डिफरेंस आता है बाकी उनकी डेट ऑफ बर्थ भी सेम रहती है उनके पेरेंट्स के नेम एड्रेस मोबाइल नंबर ये सारी चीजें सेम रहती है सो इन दैट केस यूनिकली किसी का रिकॉर्ड कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें तो उसके लिए रोल नंबर्स आधार नंबर सीरियल नंबर स्टूडेंट आईडी ऐसे फील्ड यूज होते हैं जिससे कंप्लीट रिकॉर्ड यूनिक आइडेंटिफाई होता है द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज RDBMS which we have already discussed. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. In relational data model, the data is organized into tables in the form of rows and columns. So here in DBMS, we will say for rows tuples and records and for column we will use attribute and fields. This word will not use the rows and column. Then when data is to be stored, maintained and retrieved from multiple tables, then special database softwares are required known as relational database management system to retrieve the data, to manipulate the data, to maintain the data, to store the data for performing the different type of functions and operations. We'll use the different this means spatial database software. Now the basic terminology we are going to see. These are the two table. So this is one client table. This is sales table. So you can see there are the different column in client table client id name address and phone so these are the different four field. Field means column. One more name is there for column, that is attribute. Attribute or field means column, and for records means rows or tuples. So the verticals, always make sure that the verticals are columns and the horizontals are rows. So the fields are vertical type of data, that is field. So here fields means address, phone number, name, client ID, and phone. And this 00001, Sholya Arora, then Vaibhav Mittal, Saurabh Tayal. So these are the horizontal data. So that is record. So this is complete record. So the next one is client ID. This field is unique. नेम डुप्लीकेशंस हो सकते, एड्रेस डुप्लीकेशन हो सकते, फोन डुप्लीकेशंस हो सकते, बट क्लाइंट आईडी ये यूनिक होगी. क्लाइंट आईडी field will be unique. So that is primary key, we can say. By using primary key we can access the complete record, and that is unique, that is primary key. Now in the cells table you can see order ID is there, client ID is there, sales date is there, item port is there. These different fields are there, but this client ID, the primary key of client table, is also present here. And now here we can say it is foreign key. So client ID from the sales table will act as a foreign key. So again we'll see the foreign key and primary key, composite key. Primary key means, as we discussed, that a primary key is a unique value that identifies a row in a table, and it should be not repeated. देन कंपोजिट प्राइमरी की मीन्स कभी कभी ऐसा हो सकता है कि अगर हमने सिर्फ नेम की प्राइमरी की बनाई तो नेम भी डुप्लीकेशन हो सकते, सरनेम भी डुप्लीकेशन हो सकते. बट अगर हमने ऐसा कोई कॉम्बिनेशन बनाया या सर नेम, फर्स्ट नेम एंड लास्ट नेम, इसकी अगर कोई दो फील्ड्स बनाकर कॉम्बिनेशन अगर हम रखते हैं तो हो सकता है कि उस नाम का दूसरा कोई स्टूडेंट आपके क्लास में नहीं हो. सो दैट मीन्स वी कैन set primary key as a combination of two different fields. So that will be the composite primary key if you are making combination of two different fields. When primary key constraint is applied on one or more columns, then it is known as composite primary key. Now the last topic is foreign key. We have discussed with the help of two different tables, that is foreign key. Foreign key identifies a column or set of column in one, that is referencing table, that refers to the column or set of column in another, that is reference table. Here we have seen that concept of foreign key. The client ID from the client table will act as a foreign key in sales tables. So we have covered the all topics from this session. The session name was Appreciate the Concept of Database. I hope you got all this concept. आज आपको ये वीडियो कैसे लगी कमेंट बॉक्स में ज़रूर बताइए. अगर आप चैनल पर नए हो तो सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलिए. लाइक करो, शेयर करो, मज़े करो. एन्जॉय योर लर्निंग. बाय. टेक केयर.